Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of That's Crazy. I'm Stella.
And I'm Omid.
This is our 11th episode, which we just figured out, and I cannot believe it's been 11 weeks of That's Crazy.
What is this? Like, time flew by. Time really flew by.
Yeah, time does fly by.
What started off as an idea in the jacuzzi. Now we're on our 11th week. This is insane. We were in the jacuzzi. This is insane. Like, I'm just so happy we're doing this and you guys are all listening. And we thought we'd have like a cute little moment today. We're going to chat about just fucking life these days and get you guys involved and literally ask you guys to ask us questions, which has been dope. But we just got back from the Ren Fair.
Oh my God.
If you haven't heard of the Renaissance Fair, go look it up and go check out my Instagram because we posted some crazy videos from this week. So just tell me, this is your what Ren Fair? You've been like multiple times, right?
Yeah. I think that this is maybe like my 6th Ren Fair.
Damn.
There's one that happens in Irwindale here in California, and it's so much fun. I called Omid a few days ago, and I was like, the Ren Fair is in town. We gotta go. We spent maybe 2-3 hours on the phone looking on Amazon, trying to find any outfits we could find. We showed up in full medieval Renaissance garb, and it was
so
iconic. But it's just so fun. Like, I love being able to go to something where you feel like you're transported into another time. And there were so many people there that like their outfits were so convincing that I was like, you can't convince me otherwise that they're just a time traveler.
I was surprised. Like, people really went all out. And like, I was like, as soon as you enter this Renaissance Fair, you're completely just like transported into another universe. And we got into a little bit of a pickle at one point. We got a story time from the Renaissance Fair. So basically, we were just like, browsing, we just like to like frolic around when we're doing these kinds of things.
Yeah, that's our constant state.
Stella, you were like, Omi, like, what is this like place that has like everyone just like eating and everyone looked like super authentic and like a little bit different from the rest of the Renaissance Fair. We were like, how do we get to join this like festive, moment that like, I don't know, it just looks a little bit different than the actual Renaissance Fair. So the Renaissance Fair is basically this like massive like festival ground, and it's kind of like loops, so you kind of like have all these like different stores and stuff like this, but there's this area that just looked a little bit different. So I think you or I were just like, let's just like go and let's just go see what this side of the Renaissance Fair is that nobody else is at. We fucking go there and first off, like, the vibes were like a little bit frantic. Like, people were like running around and like everyone had like a job. Like, there were like blacksmiths like making like keys or like whatever they were doing, and then we saw that there was like in the back like a tent, and we're like, oh, we want to sleep here, like being all like, like the dingy us, like just trying to like go there to sleep.
Well, there were multiple tents that looked so believable that you were like camped up in a tent during the war. Like, they had a bunch of rugs, a bunch of these like makeshift like feather mattresses, like candlesticks. It looked so believable. And that's, if I could time travel, I'd want to go back to the Renaissance area. Like,
that's your shit.
That is like my shit. So of course we were drawn to that.
Of course. Next thing you know, Stella and I are like asking if we can like sleep over at this Renaissance Fair with this group of people, and they start fucking recruiting Stella to join this group of people that were there not with the Renaissance Fair, but were there like what is the word? Like they were against the Renaissance Fair almost.
Well, like they were
right?
with the Renaissance Fair, but they were Scottish, and I think that in their version of wherever the fuck they're role playing from are still at war, you know? So you know how they were talking about how they're at war with like the English queen.
Yes, they got like kicked out or something.
They were talking about permits, which I was like, you can't weave in between your role playing and also modern society. Like, you got permits for Irwindale grounds or you're at war with the queen. Like, pick one. You don't get to have both. But of course, I mean, I was instigating the recruitment process.
Right,
you know,
right.
I saw that their name was Clan McCollin, which I was like, love, beautiful. They were all Scottish. You know, Scotland has a huge part of my heart. I love it there. It's like, you know, I own land in Scotland.
You do? You own land in
Really? I own land in Scotland, yeah. So there's actually this thing, which I feel like I should girl boss gatekeep gaslight, but I won't because I'm a saint.
Love that.
But,
we love you.
There's this company that you can buy, like, I'm not even joking, like square footages of land in like the Highlands of Scotland.
What?
And they essentially plant a tree in your name when you buy this like plot of land. And in that regard, you can become legally a lord or a lady, because if you own land in Scotland, you earn that title. It's not through like familial like bloodlines. It's actually through like owning land. So when we found out that you could become a lord and a lady, we were like, fuck yeah. So we bought some plots of land literally in the Highlands. Like, it's like right by, you know, in Harry Potter, where they have the Hogwarts Express and like you see all those shots. That's literally right by where our plot of land is. It's it's like this beautiful spot. We're right by the water. So legally, in the eyes of Scotland, I'm actually a lady.
Damn, my friend's a lady in Scotland.
Yeah, bitch, you better address me right next time.
Damn, I've been getting it wrong this whole time. I'm sorry.
But essentially, I saw that they were Scottish, and I was like, I want to be a part of this clan. I want to be a part of Clan McCollin. You know, iconic. But everything just started to get really sus really quick, and I have a very bad radar of when things start to go south. You know, I'm that bitch that, like, if I was in Midsummer, I'd be like, this is so cute. I love a fucking flower crown. Like,
you're like, we love Coachella.
Yeah, Coachella weekend 4. So I was fully, and you and I too, like, Omid and I were on the phone before we started filming for like 2 hours. 2 hours. Not even talking.
No.
And we were talking about it because Omid posted a video on his TikTok and his Instagram. And I was just laughing because I was like, if it were just you and I, we wouldn't have had our other friends to pull us out of that equation. Like,
absolutely not.
Eric and our other 2 friends were like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is a cult. But Omid and I were like, yeah, we would love to join the newsletter.
Stella kept saying newsletter as if it was like some email blast that they were like trying to. Basically, we got literally like stuck in this part of this Renaissance fair, and our other friends were trying to leave us, but like us just being the curious beasts that we're like, you know what? Let's just like keep going. I filmed this entire fucking thing. They literally were about to take us, and like I don't even know what they were gonna do with us. Like, yeah,
you know, I think it's probably best that we didn't find out.
No.
But also, I kind of like the excitement of the thrill.
Because it was something different. It's something different. I'm always down to okay, but the bad thing was we asked one person, like, what's the vibes here? Like, what's going on? Like, what's this, like, group like?
What can we expect from being a part of the clan?
Yeah, what's, like, if we give her email, just, like, what do we expect? The one word he said was cult. I'm like this. What was that? Like,
you care to use that in a sentence?
You care to elaborate a little bit?
And he looked dead behind the eyes.
Dead. So basically, Stella and I almost got recruited into a cult.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to us.
We've got a lot of other things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Omid and I just attract chaos into our life. And honestly, I'm not mad about it because it works in the sense of content for you guys.
It's a story to tell. It's a video to take.
It's the circle of life, honestly.
It's a circle of life.
It's Hakuna Matata.
Yes.
If you would ask me.
Yes. So should we answer some questions?
Yeah. So, in the past, we've asked you guys to ask us some questions via our Discord, our Twitter, socials, and we've rounded up some of the questions that you guys have asked. And we would love to answer them for you today.
Let's do it. All
right. Do you want to kick us off on one of the questions? I wish I added who asked what. So you know who you are if you're listening or watching. We got
Let
you.
us know. Just say woo, yay, we answered it.
Yeah, that's what you say. Just hit us with a oh yeah, we answered it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, kick us off, Omid.
Well, what is the craziest thing that you guys have experienced as friends? Well, this is perfect because that was one of them that we just went through.
I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is when we were in Vegas for New Year's Eve.
Oh my gosh.
That's the thing that just comes straight to mind. There's so many stories to tell, but the thing that comes straight to mind is when Omid and I, we were newly 18.
Yes.
And we decided it'd be fun to go to Vegas for New Year's Eve. And it's so funny how we thought Vegas of all places because we couldn't drink.
Nope.
We couldn't do anything that actually makes Vegas fun.
Nope.
But we went with a group of friends. And on New Year's Eve, we were staying at the Four Seasons on the Strip, which, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Vegas, but, we were on the furthest part of the Strip that you can get. And we wanted to go to dinner in, fucking Paris in the Eiffel Tower.
Yep.
Which is, a really far walk from where we were staying. I mean, not that far, but maybe, what would you say, 30, 35, 40 minutes?
Yeah, no, it's
other side of the Strip.
Yeah, it's just not close.
Not close. So we decided to go on foot because that's just what we were compelled to do. We go to dinner. We have a good time. It's maybe 4 or 5 of us. Who knows? We decide, okay, you know what? It's probably a good time to start heading back to our hotel because we want to be able to watch fireworks from our hotel room. So as soon as we wrap up the bill and we exit the restaurant, I can't even explain how many fucking people were on the Strip. It was literally like a sea of people. People were, they closed off they barricaded the entire Strip so no cars could go through. It was all foot traffic.
But bad.
There were hundreds of thousands of people on the Strip. And so we start trying to walk and weave through all of these people, but we realized maybe 10, 15 minutes into it that we were stuck. We were literally stuck in a standstill. And then we realized oh shit, we're not going to be in time to get back to the hotel for the fucking ball
Fireworks.
to drop, for the fireworks,
literally,
for it to hit midnight. So we spent the midnight countdown literally swarmed by hundreds of thousands of people. I would look up and see strollers in the air because people didn't want their strollers and their children to be crushed. I saw a multitude of strollers in the air. Babies were crying. People were screaming. It was horrifying.
So
At one
scary.
point, we ended up chaving to climb a barricade, scaffolding, to be able to exit this clusterfuck of people on the Strip. And I had a panic attack that night too. Literally, as people were counting down, I was fully having a panic attack. I remember looking at Omid. Omid was just a child. We both had no fucking clue how to get ourselves out of this equation. We were so in over our heads. And it was just so funny. I have never experienced anything like that where I thought oh,
this is about to be near death.
We were being trampled. We were in a stampede.
It was a stampede, and also it was just I've never felt that claustrophobic. There was no way out. And
there was no way out. We were stuck.
No way out. We were stuck, and we just thought Vegas on New Year's would be a fucking amazing, brilliant idea. No, everyone was fucking barefoot by the end of the night. It was just a fucking disaster.
Okay.
Next question.
Do you have any advice to build your friendships stronger?
Yes. Definitely building a friendship is literally all about communication, but also not putting as much pressure on the friendship. Like, everyone goes through their own thing, and everyone has their own shit going on, basically. So it's like, I at times in the past would always be like, we've talked about this in the past, like, why isn't this person responding, or why is, just having so much like pressure on the friendship as a whole. Is like, we gotta hang out every single day, or else we're not necessarily friends, or so that kind of stuff. So I think it's just like, the second you don't put as much pressure on the friendship, and you are able to communicate, like, I think you get to a point in a lot of friendships where the other person really knows who you are as a person. So it's like, they know your intentions, they know your characteristics as a human being. So just like not putting as much pressure is like key. And just communicating whenever something does come up, like, talk about it and don't just hold it in, because how else is the other person supposed to know if there's anything wrong, or if you're worried if something's wrong? So yeah.
Let's fucking go. That was so well put. I literally couldn't have put it in better words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like iconic. I was watching you and I was like, you fucking go with your TED Talk, Omid.
I love you. Hey, listen, this podcast has really fucking made me get in tune with a lot of myself. So it's like, yeah, I'm just like, this podcast, if it's helped you, it's helped me. So
yeah,
let's
absolutely.
fucking go. Let's go.
With having to discuss like, certain topics that you don't really talk about like in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
It really does cause you to reflect,
Yeah.
And since we do talk about friendships so often, of how to build a stronger friendship, how to go through the ups and downs of, friendships and just the whole thing that goes in alongside like having a relationship with another person. Like, we're constantly having to reflect about these things. Yeah. And I think it's made us smarter and more like in tune with like what we need from each other. And I think that's really special.
This podcast saved us. We love it.
We're saved.
We're saved. We're saved. So you're the same as far as friendship, like, keeping a lasting, strong, friendship?
Yeah, I mean, you and I stress this every single time we fucking talk about anything. Communication is key, and not having pressure on your friends is so important. I think obviously it's always good to hold your friends to a standard, so you can make sure that you can remind them that you see them in a certain light and keep them accountable. But at the same time, there is a line between keeping someone accountable and knowing what they're worth, and also not pushing them too far to be something that they're not. So I loved what you said about, not having the highest expectations and putting too much into a friendship. I think that because that will cause issues, It
will. It really will.
Too much pressure is obviously going to make anything combust. So I agree completely.
Okay. Should we do a hard one?
Yeah.
Would you rather get back together with your very first ex, or give up all social media for an entire year?
Okay. So the thing is, since social media is like essentially my job,
okay,
that would make me unemployed for a year.
Right.
But getting back together with my ex would be horrifying, even if I was not in a relationship.
Right.
I think that there's something to be like, obviously sometimes you hear the stories how people will break up and they'll do their own things and then they'll come back together. That's great. We love a revival. But at the same time, in my opinion, when I look at exes, I'm like, they're in the past for a reason, and there's no reason to revisit that. So I would probably take no social media for a year and just be unemployed and broke.
You're like, that's your vibe.
Yeah, but like, because I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of being single.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we broke up for a reason. I don't want to fucking go back.
No.
And that's not anything to say about the person, you know, like I have a pretty cordial relationship with most of my exes. I don't even know who my first ex-boyfriend is. Like, I literally have no idea who I'm referring to, because there are boyfriends that I've had where it's like, was that my first boyfriend? Or it's like, was that my first boyfriend? So I don't know who I'm even referring to, but anyone that's in my past is in my past, and I'd like to keep it that way.
I agree. I have no desire to go back to my first ex. So not even desire. That's mean. But like, just like, it's just not even a thought, you know?
You're allowed to desire and not desire. And I think it's pretty fine to not desire being with someone that you clearly didn't work with.
That's true.
It's not to be said that you can't rekindle ex relationships. I do think that you can. You know, a lot of people that I know in my life, like they've you know, had breaks with their husbands or wives, and then they've gone back together. I think that like timing is a huge thing. But for me, like, I know with all of my exes, I'm like, oh my God, I'd much rather be fucking disconnected from the world for a year than relive the trauma.
All right, let's go for the next question. How do you guys deal with friendship breakups? Ooh, friendship breakups are hard. They are something that I've dealt with. I think both of us have dealt with, literally with each other, but also like which we got back together. We love that for us. But I have plenty of friends that I have just not been friends with anymore, and you know, I've actually never really been in like a serious relationship. So to go through friendship breakup, I put so much of my energy and like I just put so much of my heart into friendships. So it's like those to me are, I've had to kind of learn how to cope with them. And, you know, I think in the past, my way of coping with things, and kind of still today, which I'm still trying to work on, is kind of just like forgetting about it completely. And just like, if it's done, like I just try to just distract myself and, just try not to think about it, which some people, that's their way of coping things. Like, you know, if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. You know, it's normal to be upset. And that's one thing that I need to just realize, that like, yeah, like it's normal to feel sad and to feel, you know, like you think about all the times that you've spent with that person, and all the memories you've had. And I'm sure that you've thought that you would have like a future with that friend. So it's hard. It's really hard. And just my way of dealing with it is just to kind of really keep moving forward and just know that that person had, that friend had a time and maybe a place, and that just, you know, it's okay, because sometimes people's wavelengths and their life paths just don't really match up anymore. But it's never easy. It's never easy to lose friends. Like, you know, you and I were talking about this the other day. It's like we have friends that we were so close, and like when the good times were good, they were amazing. And it's hard, but just know that there will be plenty of other people. And even if your friend group gets smaller and smaller, and your core group is just one or two people, like, that's fine. As you get older, you start realizing who's going to be there, and you know what you really look for in friends, and that might not match up with some of friends that you've had in the past. But yeah, friend breakups are really hard.
They are hard. I mean, it's so true. Like, you know, I think a part of just being human and growing up is evolving, and sometimes you go on a different path, and that doesn't align with your friends that you thought you would see your future with. And, you know, I think the hardest thing is, like, I've gone through friend breakups, and, you know, really substantial things have happened in my life where I've been like, oh my God, I wish that this person could have been here. I wish that I could call this person and tell them that this is happening, whether it be good or bad. But sometimes holding on to a relationship just because there's history and, you know, so much comfortability there, even though there's love, it sometimes is just not really the best thing to do. And I think being able to let go when it isn't serving each other is the biggest thing. And you mourn those relationships, you know, it does feel like a breakup. It feels like a death. You have to mourn those things. There's nothing different between a friend breakup and a romantic breakup. They're both equally as difficult to be able to go through. But I think for me, like, I don't believe that there's any time wasted when, you know, you're learning more about yourself, you're learning how to be a better friend, how to be a better person. I think people get placed into your life for reasons, and sometimes it's hard because people are really only there for seasons. But at the same time, you know, if it's not serving you, then it's better to just not keep on grasping on to straws just because you don't know how it's going to be without that person. And that's a hard thing to swallow. But at the same time, I do believe that, you know, if people are supposed to be in your life, like you'll make a way, you know, and you both have to work at friendships. And if that person isn't meeting you halfway, then that's when, you know, it's not really healthy. So it's hard, doesn't make it any easier. But I do think that, like, in life, everything is temporary. So even if you're going through a friend breakup, there's no telling that you guys won't become friends in the future again when, you know, your paths start to align. That makes me sad because I feel like you and I have been through so many friend breakups.
We have been through friend breakups, but, you know, we were able to come back. And, like, every time I'm as cheesy as it is, like, you know, I just cherish the moments we've got together.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
It really makes you, like, realize, like, wow, we've gotten through all those things together, and now we're here still. Like,
yeah.
And sometimes that, knock on wood, that happens with friends where they can have friendships that are lasted since they were, you know, children in high school. So those friendships can exist.
All right, Omid.
All right.
Next question. Do you want kids?
Ooh. Oh, she said kids?
She said kids. You want babies?
This is a very interesting question. Not very, I mean, this is just like, I've thought about this more recently because I have been, I've blessed to have beautiful nephews and a niece. And, so you know, cute. I definitely, love. I have thought about, I've always thought growing up that I would have like 2 kids, like a boy and a girl. More recently, though, you know, I see what having a baby and children is like, and it is very, very difficult, and your life changes completely. And I shout out to all the parents out there that are taking care of children, because it is hard.
Yeah. Full-time job.
But it's a full-time job. So I definitely think that is in my future because I've always wanted that. I just think it will be later in life. And I think that that's completely fine. So I definitely want kids, but not until I'm like maybe mid-30s, late 30s. So
I love that. I mean, I definitely see you having kids. Whenever I see Omid with his nieces or nephews, like it warms such a beautiful part of my heart because you have such a paternal instinct to you, you know, and it's so sweet. And it is hard because, like, you know, we're not necessarily, there's never a right or wrong time to have kids, but like we are kind of approaching the time in our lives where we have to think about those things, and we have to kind of just, you know, have an idea of what we think that we might want, even though that could change. Yeah. But I definitely see you having kids and being a fucking fantastic father. It would be so
sweetest.
Cute. Do you have baby names picked out?
Nah, I've one, but it's a secret, and it's only gonna. I have one boy name. That's all I'm saying.
I love that. Yeah, name. I don't share my kids' names.
Yeah, because someone might jack it or someone might, you know.
No, someone did jack one of the names that I thought. Yeah, literally.
Really?
Yeah, I told my girlfriend once, I was like, if I have kids, I want their names to be either this or this. And then that friend she got pregnant, and she was like, so I decided on this name. I was like,
what?
Cool.
Like,
but
that's
you know,
mine.
I mean, whatever. I mean, she fucking beat me to it, so God bless.
Yeah, hey. What about you? Yeah. Kids. Do you want kids, Stella?
It's hard because with being a woman, I feel like there's an innate sense that's embedded in me to want to become a mother. I feel like that's, so deeply rooted in just every fiber of my being. I have been in a very self-destructive mindset recently for the past couple of months. I don't know. I mean, yes, sometimes it's self-destructive, but I've also been, I think the better way to put it is I like to go against the grain. I like to do things differently than what society tells me to do. And I don't want to be told that I'm supposed to have kids at a certain time or I'm supposed to get married at a certain time. In fact, when people tell me to do those things, I rebel and I do the opposite. And I think after having years and years of people asking me, so when do you want to have kids? Oh, you don't want to have kids? Oh, you do want to have kids. It's made me just, it's hard because I do fluctuate between being like, I can't wait to have kids. I'm excited, even though I probably, if I do ever have kids, it won't be for a long time. But I like defying what society tells me, what they think I should do. And though I do have 3 names for kids picked out, if I do ever have children, I think the thing that I've landed at right now is I really want to adopt. I've always wanted to adopt. So I feel like that's kind of maybe the direction that I would go. But I'm also not married to any ideas, so I'm completely open to waking up one day and being like, actually, yeah, I want to have kids. But like you said, I don't see myself having kids for a minute. I do think that there is something nice about being able to be a little selfish, and I'm not willing to part with that. I'm not willing to part with my 10 hours of sleep every night. So yeah, I think that though I am excited to, have children in my life one day, I'm just kind of playing it by ear. And I think that especially, ever since I got engaged, the first question everyone asks me is, when's the wedding date? And when are you guys having kids? And at this point, my answer is always like, I don't know. Like, I'm having a good time. I'm just doing what feels right. And I feel taking ownership of that makes me feel I don't know, it makes me feel good. So maybe I'll grow out of this fucking angsty, rebellious phase. But I do think that, the question of always being like, especially to women, is like, when are you having kids? I don't think that should be the question. I think it should be rephrased to like, do you want to have kids?
Do you even want to have kids? I love that.
Yeah,
I love
for
that.
Sure. Because it puts a pressure on you, and then you almost feel guilty. Like I sometimes feel guilty when I say like, I don't know. And I don't think that there should be any guilt about not knowing or not wanting kids. Like,
for sure.
I think that that's super valid. And just because, being a woman, just because we're a woman doesn't mean that we're supposed to breed children. That's not our sole purpose.
Damn. Well, we'll see. Well, the only time we'll tell we'll see if we have a bunch of little kids running around us. Maybe they'll be on the podcast one day. We'll see, right?
Oh my God. It'd be so funny to show, like, if we have children, it'd be so funny to show our children this video being like, we didn't even know.
We didn't even know we were going to have you. Like, this is, yeah. No, I'm excited to see what happens. How about that? We'll just leave it at that.
To seeing what happens.
I'll drink to that. I'll drink to that. Same. Clink. Damn. Well, this was a fun episode. Thank you guys all for supporting us and sending these questions. We have so much fun doing this every week, and we hope you do too. And yeah, I just wanted to say that.
11th episode of That's Crazy. Thank you guys for being along the ride with us. We really appreciate it. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to throw them at us through our socials. We would love to answer them at any point in time. We love you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one.
See you next week.
Bye.
Mwah. Bye.